what would you do? You have a chance to preserve your number one referral relationship, something that produces 20 closings a year. But it's now going to cost you $10,000 a month. Well, this is something I had to face head on just a few years ago. And I made my decision, and today I live with it with a big fat smile on my face. Did it go my way? I don't know. Why don't you tune in and find out? I'm going to share the good, the bad, the ugly, the learning lessons, the triumph of what I did when faced with either keeping my largest referral partnership intact or letting it go over $10,000 a month. Check this out. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC
John Coleman.
Dio was popping.
Mid-June, and I still have this freaking funk of a head cold.
Because you're old and it's called midlife. Your body's deteriorating.
Is that what it is? My wife says it's because I've been going too hard for too long,
It's
and I need to
also
slow
because you don't
down.
go in the sauna. You don't have a sauna, which is mind-boggling.
I do not have a sauna.
Why don't
John,
you
no.
build a home gym? Stop being poor. Why don't you just build a home gym? That way you don't have to leave the house.
Well, because I am poor, John, and poor people don't build their own saunas.
You got a pool, right?
I do have a pool and a hot tub.
I rest my case, Your Honor.
No. You know what? I haven't got into the whole sauna game just yet.
You got to, man.
I think I will, but I don't think my wife and I will stay in our current house for longer than the next year and a half.
Oh, hey, it's hard. It's going to be hard. We'll do a whole episode when you're trying to sell your house.
Well,
about the perils of
how about this? So her cousin, shout out to Jeff Berg, top producing realtor over in the Tampa market. Jeff sends us our dream home over the weekend.
No.
He's like, this is it. Literally on the water, like the Intercoastal, blocked from the beach, Indian Rocks Beach.
Yeah.
It's just everything is pimped out.
Okay.
Except the price point is one in which we would have to sell both our houses in Orlando to move into this house. And I have bad news for you. You and I would then have to build the podcast studio inside of the house, which means I would need you over in St. Pete.
Once a week.
At least once a week.
That's fine for a day or two. I do 2 days a week in Tampa.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? Pull the trigger. Did you put an offer in?
No, we got to get our daughter out of high school, and she doesn't graduate until next May.
No.
So we have another 12 months.
Buy the house now and then just keep this one that you have.
I'm going to tell you this about the housing market. Ain't nobody want to talk like this. I'm not worried about prices going up. I am not concerned about prices going up one bit. And I'm not worried about interest rates getting any worse than they are now.
Is it one of those things that's like a remodel where it's like 3 stories tall, like thin, one of those ones? Or is it like a more cottage style home?
No, the issue is it was 2-story and we're not looking for 2-story. And it was a 2-story house, but no, it's just a normal looking home on a beautiful lot in Indian Rocks Beach, which is like literally on the Intercoastal. My backyard, my boat would be in the Intercoastal.
No, it's like on the...
And then you walk a block and you're on the beach. Yeah, it was everything that we want except for 2 stories, timing. But no, I'm not. Look, we tell our buyers, right, our borrowers, like, let's look at the 6 Ds for the reason why I would do a loan. Am I dealing with death? Nope. Am I dealing with divorce? Nope. In fact, divorce would prevent me from buying this house. Am I looking at a new diploma? Not yet. Right? But when my daughter gets her diploma, it could give me a reason to get out of Orlando. Am I looking at diamonds? Nope. My wifey got plenty of diamonds. No new marriages going on. Are we in a certain debt situation? Nope. That would I'd incur a bunch of new debt. So no, I'm not dealing with any of those like 6 Ds. So there's nothing that's pushing me to have to buy
the final
today.
D. The Dustin.
The
Dustin effect.
Yeah, well, in order for that to happen, we are going to need to achieve some milestones over here at TLOP Originator Coaching. And although I love the trajectory, I mean, literally, y'all, the boot camps, the elite coaching, the travel, the workshops, we're growing by 40, 50 members a month, right? Yeah. It has been deemed the number one value in loan officer coaching in the country.
In the fucking world.
Well, possibly in the world too.
There's
possibly in the world.
You told me that.
Yeah, well, I don't really study the economics of Canada, Australia, South Africa, In Europe,
but they don't have 30-year fixed instruments to help them attain the
So
home.
you're
I learned
good
that
on
from you.
Thank you. I learned it from you, Dad. I learned it from watching you.
Yeah, watching you. So anyway.
How do we get on that topic?
Nothing,
me and this damn summer
cold.
No. I was getting old.
Bullshit. You said you want to save and blah, blah, make it. I say you go Yahtzee, roll the dice, buy the home that you can't afford. That way, backs up against the wall. There's only one way.
In about 2 or 3 weeks, we'll be rolling some dice.
Yes, thank God.
Bellagio, here we come.
I know.
Yeah, Matt Emery, here we come. Mastermind Summit 2025, here we come.
I'm be looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, we go out to Mastermind Summit, and then I'm at another casino in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
I'm not going to that one, right?
I don't know. I just got a nice text from Ashley Logan.
Yeah, until she says, Ashley, let me get that plane ticket.
Ooh. So, Ashley, you heard it here first. If you would like John Coleman to attend the event, it's going to take at least a flight and a hotel room. Yeah. But that's, again, going to be at a casino, so we'll be rolling some dice.
A loft or AC Marriott.
Okay. I think you're staying at the venue is where you stay. Yeah. Rooms are cheaper that way, John. So let's get into today's story because it's a really cool story, and it's something that if you're a OG hardcore T-lopper, you have probably heard me tell this story because it's a real life thing that happened to me.
Okay.
That I had to make this hard decision
IRL.
With people that I care immensely about, still care about them, right? Still respect the hell out of them, and I had to make a business decision. And it was like any decision. There was 2 ways to go. I don't think looking back there was a wrong or a right, but there was a what's right for right now, and then what could I have done differently in hindsight, knowing what I know now. And then am I happy with my decision, or does that decision still plague me every single day? And that's what we're going to discuss. But before we do, let's take a quick pause so that we can get a quick word in from today's show sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by our friends over at Mastermind Summit 25. Matt Emery puts on one of the greatest mortgage sales events of the year. It's hosted in Las Vegas, Nevada. The dates are June 25th through June 27th. The hotel is the Bellagio. You are not going to want to miss this event, especially if you love to learn from some of the best in the business, especially if you are an originator who thrives off of networking and masterminding with other mortgage professionals who are also in hyper growth mode. Plus, to make it even better, T-Lop's gonna be in the house. Go to our website, tloponline.com. That's TLOP online.com. And under the events tab, just click and you'll see a spot to register for Mastermind Summit 2025. We look forward to seeing you there. And we're back. You do a good job with those show sponsorships, by the way, John.
Thank you. One of these days, we'll get paid for it, Dustin, instead of just whoring ourselves out for free.
Little do you know, the accounting team doesn't want you to know this just yet because they're trying to hide money from you the way that you like to spend it. But most people are paying us for those show sponsorships, John. We just haven't told you that yet because we haven't put the spending policy in place.
Bro, when you do,
we are putting together a spending policy.
Shit, not me. I ain't signing shit. Once you do that, I was like, what happened to JC?
No, you need a support ticket in order to use the corporate credit card anymore, John. If you don't have that support ticket filled out, yeah, we got more eyeballs on that company bank account.
I get my shit in. I always get my shit in before my shit gets shut off. I know this game before they catch up. I'm already in a different state, 3 blocks over, different license plate. Can't catch my ass.
I was talking to Steven about possibly hooking you and Doc up. And even Mark with $500 spending money when we're in Vegas.
What the? That's one roll for you. Don't try to act all ballsy on the podcast. You'll lose that shit in a heartbeat, Dustin. Horn high yo, horn high yo, horn high yo. Pay daddy, and then it's downhill from there. But yeah,
we're not talking about my spending allowance. We're talking about your spending allowance.
I ain't taking.
It's your per diem. It's your per diem. It's whatever you want to use it on, John. Spearmint Rhino. McDonald's at 3 a.m.
You know what I'm going to do?
Wherever you want to spend that money.
I learned this from you, from the power of 72. I'm going to invest that money.
The rule of 72?
What'd I say? Power of
72.
I'm going to invest that money in the market and watch my money double every 5 years or something like you told me.
If it's every 5 years, then that would mean that you are generating roughly a 14.25% rate of return on your money.
That is aggressive.
Yes.
I don't know if I can build. I don't know if I can make that.
Yeah, well, let's figure this out. If you said your money's going to double every 5 years, 5 goes into 72.
Stop.
1. Then I have 22 carried over. Then 5 goes into 22, 4.25 times. So it's 14.25% rate of return would give you an ability for your 500 to turn to 1,000 in 5 years. And then if you kept that same rate of return, your 1,000 would turn into 2,000 5 years later. Then we could keep going. And eventually you may have 10 grand.
Is it worth it?
You like that?
Oh my God.
No, you better off doing McDonald's at 3 a.m., doing the Wynn buffet, do a couple rolls with me over the craps table.
A couple.
And then use it to get into one of your favorite late night establishments.
Sounds like a plan for me, so.
All right. Anyhow.
Let's tell the story about how Dustin, is this the one about, is this the one where like, it was like.
Let's not use names though.
I don't know the name, Realtor A.
Okay.
It was your number one realtor, but they started taking advantage of you and started abusing your ass. But like the simp you were, you just took it over and over again until you found yourself in a relationship where it was like costing you racks on racks on racks per month to keep it going. And then you woke up one day, looked in the mirror and said, I don't need this. I can do better for myself. I'm breaking up with you. And then here we are today.
Ish. Yeah. I mean, that's basically what went down. Now, it's like anything, you need full context. And, there's some clarity that goes along with that.
Can't wait to hear
some
this.
Some context, I think the kids call it these days. So, yes, imagine this. Imagine growing up in the business with a handful of other professionals. And I did. I grew up in this business with, if you're in Orlando, you know these names. If you're not in Orlando, look them up. Some of them may still be selling real estate. Others have massive downlines at EXP, right? But I grew up with George Philbeck, with Jenny Weimer, with Yin Yao, with Rustina Gibson. Like these were some of the biggest realtors at the time. You're going 2009 through 2019. Okay, when they met me, I was a young 20-something-year-old with a pregnant wife and a baby on the way. The baby's now 20. Okay,
full head of hair.
I still did not have a full head of hair.
I was talking about the baby.
The baby did have a full head of hair, and he has amazing hair today. Somehow, I had terrible hair.
Fucking lion's mane.
I had terrible hair. My wife has super pretty hair. It's straight, but it's gorgeous in terms of the color. But our kids both got amazing. He don't know what he got. He don't know what he got. Got amazing hair. So anyhow, yes, the kid had a full head of hair coming out. I had no hair by this time. Anyhow, we grew up together, right? Like I was there before they had their team. I was there before they were advertising on TV. I was there when they hired their first buying agent. Like they were with me before I had an LOA, before I had a dedicated process, before I opened my own branch.
OG.
Yes, we grew up together in the industry, right? We all got in sometime in the early 2000s. They were usually older than me in life, but we were pretty close in terms of career-wise. Yep. So anyhow, this one relationship, and I adore it, and I think the world of everyone who works at this brokerage. But as they grew, I grew. As they grew, I grew. And I earned that business. Like coming out of the gates, I wasn't the only lender that they were partnered with. I wasn't the only lender that was trying to get their business. But I was that lender that consistently picked up the phone, consistently got rave reviews from the clients, would do things like do 2-week closings. I would do things like throw a $500 lender credit at a problem that wasn't even mine just to hold the transaction together. I'm talking like the walkthrough went bad. The buyer's pissed. Seller's not going to do anything. Buyer's getting ready to walk. And I get a phone call and panic. And I'm like, look, y'all, I'll talk to my branch manager. We'll throw a $500 lender credit. Will that help? I threw $500 at it. Maybe the agent threw $500 at it. The selling agent threw $500 at it, right? Both agents and me all threw $500 at it. We hold the deal together. Buyers happy, sellers happy, life moves on. Like I did those types of things. Pre-quals on Sunday, right? Answering phone calls late on a Wednesday night. Like I was that type of lender. And as they grew, I grew too, right? Because as they grew, I gave that same level of service. I mean, I was the guy that they were like, look, anyone who loves Dave Ramsey, they have to call Dustin because I could handle them. Engineers, they got to call Dustin. Vets, they got to call Dustin. They knew that I would do the best job of taking care of their clients. But then as they grew and new mortgage companies came on the scene, well, this company wants to come in. They don't have a relationship. They haven't proven their worth over the past 7 years, but they're willing to spend $5,000. Hey, I'll give you $5,000 of marketing money. If you'll refer me business, right? Totally what I would say violation of RESPA Section 8, but we all knows how the world operates, and there's ways to do it, quote unquote, legally. And I'm not the compliance police, and I'm not the CFPB. And even if the CFPB were notified, they didn't give two shits about that type of transaction, the relationship going on. So now all of a sudden I get hit up one day. Hey, Dustin, you know, so-and-so, they're giving me $5,000 a month. You've never offered money. I was like, well, I didn't offer money because like I thought I've earned your trust. Like I'm the guy getting loans closed in 2 weeks. I'm answering the phone on weekends. I'm throwing in $500 lender credits when it wasn't even my fault to try to keep the deal together. I participate in helping you with your Christmas party. I do one big event for your team.
How quick did that go out the window? Was it a gradual thing, or was it like you picked up the phone one Thursday and she was like, by the way, I need you to come up with some money. And you're like, what? Where'd this come from? I was just delivering donuts like I normally do.
It was like that.
It was like that, like smack in the face, like, whoa. What?
Yeah. And it might not have been a she, it may have been a he.
Okay.
That picked up the phone. And I was like, whoa. Now, mind you, this is where context comes into play. Where was I at that time in my career? Well, that time in my career, I had a dedicated processor. I had a team captain loan partner, like my right hand, my ride or die, Murph Dog. And we had an LOA. And I was managing 5 branches. So at that time, I mean, my team is doing 144 transactions. My branches, we're funding 200 loans a month amongst the 5 branches. I'm working 60 hours a week. I'm making more money than I'd ever made.
Word.
Right. This was probably the same time that I hit that second comma for the first time. Right. The first time I hit that second comma was right around this time period. And if y'all haven't noticed, I get a little fiery. I call it passionate. I get a little fiery sometimes. Like I don't back down. Like there's that fight, flight, or freeze. No, my ass fights. Sometimes I should freeze. Sometimes I should say nothing and just be quiet. I don't know how to do that. So the first time, and the way it was presented was kind of snotty to me, I took offense to it. And I just snap called and I said, look, so-and-so, I need you to understand how much I love your team. I love this relationship. I love the other spouse that's involved in I go, but y'all are 20% of my production. You're 10% of my income. You are 30% of what I care the most about. Like I give this team way more fucks than I probably did so many other relationships. But at the end of the day, I'm giving 30% of my fucks for 20% of my volume, which is only 10% of my income, because I was getting paid on profit from the branches as well as on personal production. If this is how the relationship's going to go, please know, as much as it would hurt me, I don't mind saying no. I don't mind backing out, and I'll just have to go replace that extra 20% of the volume, right? I'll take the 10% income hit. It's the volume I'm more worried about, because that volume feeds my processor, that volume feeds my loan partner, that volume feeds my LOA, that volume fed my branch. And I was responsible enough to know that I'm not just making decisions for Dustin, I'm making them for other people. Right. And we got through it. And the long story short was I started paying. Right? So something that I'd earned, I feel like I earned it, I started paying. Now,
you skipped the rebuttal. What'd they say when you were like, whoa, I thought like we built this like, since back in the day, you was my homie,
Well, no.
Oh, okay.
What I got from them the first time is, look at where you are because of us. And I was like, whoa, slow your roll, homie. Slow your roll. Like, nah. Like,
you must have forgot.
Yeah, correct. Because look, if I was a slouch, you guys would have never used me. Right? If I was a slap dick, schmuck, there's no way. I earned this. Don't take it away from me.
And then they were like, oh, okay, I guess you're right.
Yeah, because if I wasn't giving to you, I would have given to other people. Because I told you, 30% of my resources were being poured into this relationship. If you give me those resources back, I can go find more relationships. Would it be fun? No. Would it take time? Yes. So do I want to take the time to do it? So first learning lesson for y'all that are tuning in and thinking, oh my God, I may one day be in the situation where I am. What I could have done had I been a little bit more wise is I could have recognized the amount of business and I could have approached them and said, hey, I love this relationship. I want nothing but it to continue. Is there anything that I'm currently not doing that you wish I was as your partner? And at that time, I would have opened up, say, you know what? We've been approached by these other mortgage companies. They want to participate financially. And then I could have run the numbers and be like, you know what? Maybe I want to put a fence around this relationship. Maybe I could have controlled the narrative. Maybe it was worth $5,000, especially if I was like, look, I don't mind paying the $5,000, but could you help me get these 2 agents to refer me better? Could you help, introduce me to a couple more of your agents that maybe aren't yet on the DO train? No, I didn't. So my learning opportunity was I played from a place of defense and I was backed up on my heels. Had I been more experienced, a little bit more wise and observant, maybe I could have headed this off at the pass. But you know what? I paid the money. Life moved on.
Right.
Fast forward 9 months later, they hit us up for more money.
No.
Yeah. 9 months after that, hit us up for more money.
Sounds like Comcast cable.
Now all of a sudden, if I want to play ball, it's $10,000 a month.
What?
$10,000 a month. Now, and also by this time, I was getting to a point to where I couldn't run at the rate I was running. We were opening up branch 6, branch 7. I was not willing to work 60 hours a week. My emotional health, my physical health, my relationships with my loved ones was not where it needed to be. So I needed to continue to offload my production onto my team. Right at that standpoint, I was hiring another LP2, training up another LOA, and I was wanting to do less, and I wanted them to do more. And I learned that the relationship was with me. It wasn't yet with my team, and everyone loved my team when they were my team, but they didn't love my team when it was them being the number one. That's a cool lesson in itself. Not for this, but I'm just going to sidebar it for a quick second, go down the rabbit hole. When I did finally turn everything over to my team, here's what I learned. The good, the bad, the ugly when I did it. The ugly was there's plenty of people who don't want me. They don't want my team. They want me. I lost those people. So that's the ugly. There wasn't really a bad. There's a good, though. There are people that were in my network that didn't love me. But the minute that my team took over, they loved Kevin.
50 leads a month.
They loved Kevin. So all of a sudden we lost 3, but we picked up 5. And don't get me wrong. It was the 3 we lost was probably 30 transactions a year. And the 5 we picked up was probably 26 transactions. So we net lost 4, but it was sad that they loved him when he was my assistant, but didn't love him as the number one. It was cool to watch that there was 5 others that came out of the woodworks that basically I wasn't their flavor, but he was. And then on top of all of that, it's a lot easier to hold other people accountable than it is yourself. So I could always coach my team better than I could actually coach myself. So my team then all of a sudden got better at doing things like lead follow-up, Tuesday status update calls, and contacting the past clients for annual mortgage reviews. It was a lot easier for me to hold them accountable for that than it was when I was in charge myself. So that's just a cool rabbit hole about what happens when your team takes over. But during this time with this relationship, and they want to spend $10,000 a month. They want us $10,000 a month. They want us doing competitive rate match quotes. They want us closing in 2 weeks. They want us available nights and weekends. And they want $10,000.
When it got up to $10,000 along this time frame, were they still feeding you the same amount of leads, or did it increase as their price increased?
Well, you still had to earn it because you were now one of 3 lenders that were all paying them $10,000 a month.
So you could have paid and still not gotten in business.
You still had to earn it. And it was at that point that I stood up and I just said, I love you. I'm so thankful. I'm grateful for the ride. I hope that we can remain friends, but this isn't going to work.
Did they even bat an eye? Was it
not one bit? It was a pure stone cold negotiation.
Really?
Stone cold negotiation.
I can't do that shit.
Yeah, they gave 0 fucks and I gave 0 fucks. Yeah. I mean, and at the end of the day, life moves on. So I teased this in the beginning. What did I learn? Here's what I learned. I was right. Ultimately, we were better because of it. Ultimately, we had too many eggs in one basket. And for me to spend $10,000 a month to close 5 or 6 transactions, at which point we still had to do nights and weekends. We still were going to have to compete on every transaction. They still were going to want us to throw in that $500 lender credit last minute to save the deal. They still were going to hit us up for holiday parties and for semi-annual team building events. It just didn't make sense, especially because I wasn't going to be the guy in the driver's seat anymore, right? My team was taken over. I had 2 inside loan officers, one male, one female, like with an LOA and a dedicated processor. And we moved on. Our volume dropped by $10 million that next year, and it took 20 months to rebuild. But when we rebuilt back better, and we still spend money, just $2,000 a month, not $10,000 a month. And we took a quick kick to the gut, picked ourselves back up, put ourselves back together, kind of like Humpty Dumpty and that whole wall thing. Mm-hmm. What did I learn looking back? Looking back, I maybe, knowing what I know now.
You should have pushed it to 15 or 20,000 to see where you could have gone.
I wish I would have thought bigger. I do. I wish I could have sat down. I had 2 managing partners at the time. I wish I could have sat with them as true partners and looked at this as a branch expense and then worked with those realtors about which lenders in town did a great job. And maybe we as the branch picked it up. I then assigned 2 or 3 loan officers, turned them into attack dogs. Even if I had to pay those loan officers reduced basis points on that business, it probably still would have made sense, especially playing the long game. Because when you play the long game, you understand that every one of those transactions, you're talking 30 or 40 of them a year, has a listing agent.
Has a buyer's agent attached to it. They also have a seller's agent. So they also probably have a divorce attorney because the wife leaving the man. So there's probably that one transaction, 17 other leads.
A little bit. Like that was a little bit Beetlejuice-esque with your answer.
Shout out Beetlejuice.
R.I.P. Beetlejuice.
Every time, don't say it again.
All right. But I don't think it applies to that Beetlejuice.
The cartoon where if you say his name again, he'll appear, Beetlejuice?
No, I'm talking about the character on Howard Stern, Beetlejuice. He used to say nonsense all the time. You were just saying you got a buyer's agent and a listing agent and a seller's agent. I'm like, well, listing agent and selling agent are the same thing. And the buyer's agents who referred us to business, the one that we're paying $10,000 a month to. So in this case, you were trying to pick up where I was going.
Listen, it's not my job to know PPG or whatever you're spewing at me. It's my job to get the goddamn lead, Dustin, and that's what I'm doing.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Let me make it up to you.
You made fun of me last episode because I didn't know. I tripped up on the word. Was it contaminate? No. What would I say? Contagion. I said contagion and not contagious.
Yeah.
You don't even know my name.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
5 years into this, you called me Justin.
Have you ever called a potential client by the wrong name? Of course you haven't. How did you save it? That's what just happened.
Okay. That's how it happened. You got me all confused. Yeah. But yes, playing the long game, I could have looked at this as a business owner differently than a loan officer. And the long game would have reminded me that there's listing agents, would have reminded me that, yes, I'm paying $10,000. Yes, I'm taking a reduced commission. However, I'm adding yet another happy client to my database. All of this was happening all pre-2020, 2021. Well, what happened in 2020 and 2021? What happened, John? We refied the shit out of our entire database.
Oh, yeah. Everybody, because rates went down.
Yeah, so there were 60 potential refis that I didn't have because I didn't spend the $10,000 a month. I would have at least broken even and probably made some money. But I didn't approach it that way. I was only looking at it through the lens of not just a loan officer, but someone whose ego and feelings were hurt and was just prideful and just honorary enough that I was literally willing to say, fuck you, watch this, hold my beer. I don't regret it one bit because it was a great lesson. However, there is another side of the story that I wish I could have had a parallel life and seen how it played out going the other direction.
Well, that does exist in the fourth dimension. You know, every decision we make spawns a different dimension.
So I'm curious to do this. If you guys are on YouTube, comment below. I'd be curious to know, if you were in that same situation, do you pay the $10,000 a month and figure it the F out? Or do you walk and trust in your skill set, trust in your ability, take that $10,000, because this is actually what we did do. Take the $10,000 and figure out, where else can I apply this? Is that going to a new LOA? Is that going to 3 new marketing agreements with 3 new brokerages that don't already send me business? Like that, is it going to that many more coffee appointments, that many more lunch and learns? Is it going to go to buying my own leads off of Zillow? There's a lot you can do with 10 grand a month. It doesn't have to go to one relationship. So I'm just curious if you guys watch this on YouTube, and if you don't, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe right now, do us the favor, and let us know what you would have done in this situation. In the meantime, make sure you're going to our website early and often. It's tloponline.com, TLOPonline.com. That's where you will sign up for our newsletter. That's where you can find out all about our coaching offerings. It's how you can figure out where John and I are going to be speaking next.
Nowhere, because they just fly you and leave me behind.
Well, yeah, unless we can pull some strings. And it's just a great place for you to even log into your free account so you can get on our next master class.
Yes.
He's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. That's all the time we have for you today, but we do look forward to catching you on the next episode.